Hi everyone, I'm Mandy from Emptiness Designs, and in this video I'm going to be showing you another stamp set from my friend and incredible artist Kelly O'Gorman. This is the second video from the that I've done from using her images, and I love this one. So let me show you it, and then I want to just remind you that this is not the packaging. Again, if you see the first video, you'll understand what I'm talking about. But if this is the first time you're seeing any of Kelly's artwork, this is not the packaging. These stamps are so new that I'm assuming the packaging has been made at this point, but I have not seen it. I have no idea what it looks like. I'm really excited to see it, but I was just sent the stamps to work with. As you can see, I've been really using them and working with them. But I figured I would show you what the imagery looks like. Just all I've done is stamp this as it is. I'm going to turn it round so that you can see the little mouse who's upside down at the moment. But that is another of the amazing sets being brought to you by the incredibly talented and really lovely person, Kelly O'Gorman. Okay, so I have an idea of what I want to make for you today, so I have a loose plan, so we're just going to go with it and see what happens at the end. Okay, let me just grab the stamps out. To start with, I want these ones. Let me just grab my little block. Oh, I haven't even told you what else I'm using. I'm so excited, I can't wait. Okay, so the stamps from Kelly, I will be using some Distress Oxides in Antique Linen, Aged Mahogany and Frayed Burlap, VersaFine in Onyx Black, black and white cardstock, and some scissors. And anything else I use along the way, I will let you know what it is. But I am really excited, so let's just get started. So I want to take the large flower and the small flower, and I will also be using the individual leaf, but I'm going to move that to one side because I'm going to be using it on this block. So to start with, I am just going to make sure my fingers are clean and grab out my 6x6 card blank. I'm going to move this just to one side. All I did to prep ahead of time was cut down a piece of black cardstock to fit on the 6x6 card, and then I'm going to do the same for the piece of white card here. I'm just going to trim this down to size because this will be what I'm working on. What I like about this card, even though I haven't made it yet, is that it will be mostly made of scraps. I used the other piece of this white card that I'm using right now to stamp the image on. The black pieces of cardstock I'm using, they are just offcuts. I'm telling you that because I keep my my offcuts and my scraps if they're above a certain size, because you know you've got different size stamps and sometimes you just need a tiny little scrap and you don't want to have to cut down an entire A4 sheet for one tiny piece. So that's why I'm telling you that. Okay, so let me grab in a sheet of paper because we're going to be doing some over stamping. All right, so before we begin, I have mounted the stamp onto the acrylic block exactly how I should, but that's a mistake. The technique I'm going to show you, I'm just going to take off any excess ink, is I want to take this stamp off this block and I want to turn it over, and I'm going to be using the back. Now sometimes the part where the ink goes isn't very sticky, so all I'm going to do is grab a little bit of water onto a rather well used piece of kitchen roll and give the front a bit of a wipe, because that will help bring back some of the natural cling that the stamps have. So that's on there. And if it doesn't stay on, it's not a problem, we can just put it back. Okay, now the only kind of plan I had was the order in which I wanted to stamp these individual elements out, and I want the antique linen to be for the biggest individual stamp. So I'm going to do this over this side because I am left-handed. If any of you have seen me before, you'll probably already know that. I'm going to try and get that on as best as I can, and I'm going to ink the back of the stamp. I'm going to turn it over, and as you can see, I've got a fairly decent coverage, but there's a little patch in the middle there, so I'm just going to take it back and get a nice even coverage all over, and then I'm just going to stamp onto the card, and I'm going to do that a couple of times. Doesn't matter if it's not perfect, but I am going to over stamp. So let me turn this round. I think I'll put another one here. I will work to, excuse me sniffing there, got a bit of a cold coming on. I will work to the formula of odd numbers. But as you can see, some of them are very much over the edge. Okay, so all I'm going to do now is pop the lid back on here. Move this to one side and grab another piece of scrap. This is scrap. This is me attempting to stamp it out earlier on, and it just didn't happen. I kept moving. So I'm just going to clean the back of this off. A little bit of water on there. Trusty kitchen roll or tea towel, or just something you can dry it off with so that it has some cling back to it. And then I'm going to grab the next stamp that I'm going to be working with. So once again, I'm going to turn it over because I want the back, and this time I'm going to be working with aged mahogany. So again, same process, just getting a nice even coverage on the back and stamping. Going to remember that I want to put a third set on here, so I'm not going to fill it in completely. So how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we're going to go with another couple, but just sort of peeking. 6 and 7. There we go. And then clean this one off as well. Turn the stamp over. Actually, I won't turn this over just yet because I'm going to use this acrylic block for the individual leaf. And again, upside down and frayed burlap this time. And with this one, we're just going to kind of fill in the gaps. It's nice if you remember to turn the stamp every now and again as well, because that way you'll get it. It's not just going to be like it's a uniformed line. So just all over. I know it looks a bit strange right now, but you'll see in a moment it really does create quite a striking card. It doesn't have to be a card either. You could do this technique and stick it onto a notebook or scrapbook page. Pretty much anything you want, and it will look fab. Now, I don't need to go into the middle because that's going to be covered, but as I'm not entirely sure on how I'm going to finish this card yet, I will cover the whole card in case I decide I want to go more towards the bottom or something, and I don't want the big gap in the middle. So let's just line this one up. There we go. Again, cleaning the stamp off. And turning it round. Just make sure the block is dry as well. So this is where the VersaFine comes in. And we are literally going to, with the stamp the right way round, ink it up and overstamp onto the background we just created using the back of the stamp. And you have a nice bleed around the outside, a nice shape all over. It doesn't have to fit perfectly, it just needs to show that this is where you're trying to put the actual artwork. But it really, really does give a lovely, lovely finish. I'm just going to wipe my block there because I caught it and I don't want to put ink where I don't want it to go. 2 more of this one. Okay, again, wipe my block, take off any excess ink there. And just on with the next image. Try and get it so that it does look like this is the way you meant it to be. So just take a moment to rotate the flower and sort of see if it's going to look nice once it's on. The beauty about these ones is the way Kelly's drawn them is that you can sort of see, like here, the flower itself is more closed because there's only 2 points, but across the top there's 5 points, so it kind of opens more. So you can see, but as I said before, it really doesn't matter if you don't line it up perfectly, because you will get the idea. And that's ultimately, I almost missed that one there, ultimately what we're looking for. Okay. To give these a bit of a clean, they are getting rather mucky. Okay, and so now to the final one, which was the biggest one. The reason I started with the biggest one is because it then showed me I had space to put the smaller ones around it. I could decide where I wanted to put everything. So this one is a lot trickier to try and line up in the right way, so really, really, really don't worry about it. This colour palette is so pretty. It's I don't think I've ever used these 3 colours together before, but now that I have, it definitely won't be the last time. It's just so pretty. So I'm going to take this stamp off here because I know I need this block again in just a minute. I'm going to move all the bits to one side so you can really see the background that we've created here. Isn't that lovely? Let me pull it up for you a little bit so you can see. I'm really, really pleased with that. And then obviously, excuse me, it will sit onto the frame of black, and I appreciate that I've got a black card on my black mat, but there, hopefully you can see how nice the frame of black works on that. But I'm going to move these to one side. I'm going to just give my fingers a wipe because I'm covered in black ink where I took the stamp off. I don't want to get black ink on the white cardstock I'm about to use. So in this set, let me just pull the image in for you again. It's easier to see. Obviously you have her face and the individual elements you would use to create her hair. Included in which is this really cute little mouse. And we're going to use the mouse as the next part. Whoops. Didn't want to come off. Okay, so I don't need to worry about overstamping on this one. So I don't need to have the piece of paper underneath, because we're just going to go for a nice, clean and crisp impression. Make sure it's nicely inked. And I do think you fit on like here, like so. That means less cutting out for me. So I'm going to line him up slightly over to the side so that I don't have so much trimming down to do. Give it a press. Try and pick up all the detail. There we go. Isn't that a lovely image? So cute. Okay, so I'm just going to grab my guillotine, move my mat out the way. And trim this down to the size, I want to work with. Oh, mouse almost got away there. You have to excuse me just taking off little bits at a time. I just want to try and get him so he's nice and evenly spaced all round. That's actually square, or have I managed to cut that completely wrong? No, that looks fine. Although I am going to take a tiny little bit more off the top there because one of the corners is a little scuffed where I pretty much dropped him. So I only need to take a little bit off just to neaten the whole thing up. There we go. So all I'm going to do now is grab one of my scraps of black. I've got a piece smaller than that. Oops. Oh, very dangerous there. I think I want a slightly larger frame around the outside, so instead of just cutting that down, I will just look to see if I have a larger scrap, which I do. So swap that out. There we go, that's better, because then this is along the lines of the same sort of size of frame that will be around the background we just created and the card itself. So just a little snip where I want to cut it. Find the snip, make sure it's all lined up neatly. Give it a chop. Move all my stuff. Oops. So because the background on here is so pretty and so detailed, I really am not doing anything to the mouse. My only decision is how and where I want to place him, because I think it's such a cute little image that just sits really well in the background. Now, if you're thinking the image might be too small and you want to make it a bit bigger, you could not trim away as much as I have to give you more white area around, but I'm really happy with this as it is. I'm just trying to decide where I want to pop him. I mean, we could always stamp him again and have two little mice on here. That might be nice. You'll have to forgive me, as I said before at the beginning, I really don't have a plan with this card, so I am just trying to decide how to finish this one off. Do I want just the little image? Do I want just another matte and layer around the outside of this? I will make a decision, I promise I will. I think we're just going to layer this up. So let me stick this down. Let me stick this down and I'll show you exactly what I mean. So just using a quick grab wet glue. Line him up where I want him. If you find that you've got a little more than you would like on the frame, you can always trim some away. Oh, don't stick, don't stick, don't stick, don't stick, don't stick. Ooh, see what I mean, how quickly that glue grabs? Sometimes it's not the best because if you need a little wiggle room, you don't really have it. So just give that a press down, and I can see that I've got quite a bit of excess here on the black, so I'm just going to literally bring my guillotine back in and snip that away. should be more even. There we go. Really wasn't much that got cut off either, as you can see, just a thin little slither, but it makes the difference. So let me just stick this layer down as well. This is a lovely card for an autumnal birthday with the colour palette that's been used. But there's no reason why you couldn't pick another set of colours and make it more of a spring or a summer card. I didn't check to make sure I'd popped this on the right way. I think that is meant to go this way. Because although it does look square, there is always a slight difference on the 6x6 cards. There's always one side that is a little bigger than the other. So let's turn that over and give that a press from behind. Okay, so I have a couple of options here. I can stamp him out again and have two. I can put him in the middle and not mind. I can pop him off to one side and not mind. But I think what I'm actually going to do is take another piece of scrap card and create a slightly larger frame going around the outside that will in turn give the overall illusion that the image is bigger than it is. Okay. If that didn't make sense to you, I do apologise. Hopefully it will in a minute. So just by eye, just snipping where I think is about the right distance. I do apologise if you can hear me sniffing. I've got a bit of a cold coming on. I will endeavour to stop because that's just not very nice, is it? Okay, let's see how that looks. Did I get a nice sort of even size? I did. So grab another scrap piece of card, see if this fits. It does not, so I can either look for another piece or I can just trim this one down, but I think I will just look for another piece because I must have a slightly bigger piece of scrap than the one I'm using. There we go. So let's just line this up, giving a same sort of size border as the frame around the mouse. Just a little snip. This card's almost done now. That is definitely one of the incredible things about Kelly's range, is that although what they have been designed for is beautiful and imaginative and can, you know, will really make you be very creative, you can also take the individual elements and just use them how you want. You don't have to use them the way they've been designed. In fact, it's actively encouraged that you do something different with them. Okay, so let's bring this in. So there'll be some 3D foam involved and it will all stand up. I have to sneeze. See if I can get it to go away. You're supposed to sort of look up at the light or something when you need to sneeze, don't you? Well, the fact that the sneeze almost happened and deafened you all, I think that is confirmation that I have a bit of a cold coming on. And I looked at the light and now I'm seeing spots in front of my eyes. And I can't really line this up properly because I can't see it clearly. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? Okay. I can see that I've got a little extra black frame around that side. So let me just pull the guillotine back in. So I know there's been quite a bit of excess chopping and bits and pieces, but as I said, I really didn't have a completed plan for this. I just wanted to have a play and show you, I guess, an off-the-cuff demo. I really do have the spots in front of my eyes that I can hardly see. That's so funny. Okay, so I think I'm going to grab the card back in. Move everything out of the way. Let's just fold this. This is a pre-creased card, so just line it up, and I always like to use the bone folder and kind of just go out in a sweeping motion. And there we go. So that's all nicely done. Let's make sure we have the background on in the way we want it. That's sitting just like that. So I flip it and then stick it down by flipping it back the way I flipped it. I don't turn it side to side or anything. I flip it and then flip it back. I think in all the videos I've done, I think that's the first time I've ever had a sneeze creep up on me. Alright, so this is going to be, so I'm just trying to decide, do I want to, oh, I like the look of that. Look at me, I'm really just having a play because I'm trying to decide how I want to do it. Because I could always put something on here. Oh, that might be nice. What have we got? What have we got? Maybe the large flower, or even the mouse with some extra flowers around him. Sorry, I know this is not the most interesting thing, watching me and ah about what I want to do, because this was what I was planning on doing, so that foam pads on here and foam pads on here, so that it had some depth and dimension. But this layer here was to give the illusion that the image I was using was taking up more space in the card. But I really liked kind of the staggered, having an extra image back there look. I think I'm going to do that. I have no idea what I'm doing right now. I'm just completely winging it. So let me pull my mat back in. Let me have another look at the stamps and decide which one I'm going to use, because I think maybe we'll just use the big flower. I suppose if it doesn't work, I can always just do something different. We grab an acrylic block that will fit it. And let's have a look. Whenever I use Kelly's artwork like this, I really do just want to sit and have a play. I know I probably should have had a design in mind before I started, so that you didn't just sit and watch me play. But I think it's nice to see the creative process sometimes. So just here, a nice press, make sure we get all the detail. And let's bring it back in and see how that looks. I really like that. I'm very happy with that, and I think that's what I'm going to go with. So I'm going to stick this one down flat, make sure I've got the card opening the right way. Go. So roughly pop this one, I think about here. Yep. Press. Grab some foam pads. Where have I put those now? Just here. Give the little mouse a turn over. Nearly there. Well, hopefully you've enjoyed watching the creative process making this card, because it has certainly been a different video for me. I normally always have a plan, even if it doesn't go to plan. I normally always have a plan as to what I'm going to do and a backup for if it doesn't work. I know that's really sad, isn't it? But I do like to bring interesting content. Hopefully you're enjoying all the videos that I've been releasing. As I mentioned already, this is the second video using the amazing artwork from Kelly. So if you haven't seen that one already, do have a look through and find it and give it a watch. There we go. That is the finished card. What do you think? I'm really happy with that. Well, hopefully you've enjoyed this video and watching the techniques that I've shown you. If you have, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. All the information that you need on where you can purchase these stamps, as well as mine and Kelly's social media, will be at the bottom of this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!